on to YouTube. Permission to live stream, setting it up without leaving Zoom. Perfect. And Lily, if you can be so kind, I'm reminding you, I have something about the exam I want to go over with you on the end of the class, okay? So just put that in your notes, Lily.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So everybody's here, and Lily, you'll take care of all why I don't have everybody on camera. Okay, so we're ready to go. Brooke, did you spend some time studying at all for this exam?
Yeah, I did a little bit with like Notebook LM. I had it make more questions and look at some of those.
Okay, so multiple choice or the open-ended?
I had it make multiple choice and true false questions.
Okay, so you did that. Okay. And Kiko, did you prepare for the exam at all?
A little bit.
What did you do?
I just did some reading from the textbook.
Okay, on the touchwood, did you do the open-ended? Look at the open-ended questions? Anyone looked at the open-ended questions? Raise your hand. Okay. Anyone? Okay.
I did, but I didn't use Notebook LM. Like I just researched it on my own.
Okay, and did you have any did you have any questions about any of them? Of the open-ended, Ludovica?
Not really, because researching you can get the answer. Like
Okay.
they're not like some of them are pretty straightforward.
Okay. All right. So let's do this. Let me share my screen. Let me open up my Chrome and Max, you see something on you see my screen?
Yeah, I see it.
What do you see?
I see the YouTube live stream.
Okay, so we got the YouTube live stream. We know it. Now let's go to the what's due. On the what's due today was the audit assignment for the group of the AI powered research, which was the Notebook LM. And then you had attached the review for exam 1. And you also had this article. Let me open up in a new tab on cybersecurity and higher risk and best practices. And you can see here from the trends, the frameworks. This was a question that was asked on the open-ended of frameworks. I want to make sure that you understand on cybersecurity frameworks, what does that even mean and who cares? You see this? One of the questions talks about Ludovica. Did you see the one on frameworks?
I'm sorry, Professor, can you repeat?
Yeah, did you see the question on frameworks?
Yeah, there was a question on like cybersecurity frameworks. Yeah.
Right. So the question is that I want everyone to answer the open-ended. It's not only that you research it, but you understand it and can give examples. So the idea of frameworks, what does that mean and who cares? When we think about an enterprise is a large organization. What enterprise do we all know? Eben, what enterprise do we all know?
Like for example, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Eben, what are we all a member of? What enterprise?
Humanity.
Right. The university. We all have different roles, right? I have a role of professor. You have the role, Lily has a role of student, and also she's on the payroll for lead teaching assistant. Others of you have just one role of student. We all have an interest in that university. The university and all universities have data. Everybody agree with me? Frankie, you agree? We all have data. And what they need to do is they need to protect that data. They need to protect that data, and they are not in the business of security. You agree with me, Frankie? We're in the business of education. If I'm a president of a university, you'll become, let's say, the provost of the university, Frankie. It's not going to be our whole life to have cybersecurity, but it's going to be important for us. What does a framework do? A framework gives companies guidelines on how they should protect their data. Basically, identify what are the threats, identify what data is important, how I need to protect it. And guess what, Frankie? Somebody's going to try to do a breach. And somebody tell me, raise your hand if you know what a breach is. And if we don't know we're in a breach, we're in trouble. So what do you think? And if you don't know what a breach is, what do you have? You have in front of you a phone. What is a breach?
Like any leak of internal data.
Anybody that's attacking me, right? A breach is anybody going into my system that doesn't belong and is going to do some harm. That's a breach. So basically, Jonas, what I want to do is I want to identify what I have, the data. Then what do I want to do is after that, I want to protect that data. And then I want to basically detect if something's been a breach to me. And after the breach, let's say we find a breach. So what do? We have data. Let's say your GPA. That shouldn't be anybody's business but your own. You agree with me, Jonas? Unless you have to give permission, or those people that are involved in your education should see it, right? And Jonas, all I see is what you're in my class, right? That's the least privilege, right? We're agreeing that. And then let's say your GPA, I need to basically I have to identify, I have to protect it. I don't want somebody taking that GPA, or I don't want anybody taking your credit card information that possibly has it. I need to protect, and then I have to detect if somebody has gone into it to breach it. And then I have to know how to respond if I have a breach. And then I have to recover from that breach. So think about it. Jonas, do you have a car?
I do.
Good. So basically, that's an asset to you, right? That's important to you, right? To get around, right, Jonas? So that would be that idea. And then what do I have to do? I have to protect it. How can you protect it? Give me one way to protect that car. You go to school and you park it in the parking lot.
But you would lock your car.
You got to lock it.
Yeah.
Right? You have to do that due diligence to lock it. And then what happens is you have to detect whether somebody's broken into that car or somebody's taken that car. You go back to after the classes at UM, you go to the parking lot, you don't see your car, right? You detect there was a breach. Doesn't take much, right? And then what do? You have to respond. What would you do if your car, God forbid, was stolen? What would you do, Jonas?
First thing I would do would be call the cops, and then I
You
would
call the cops, right? And call 911, right? My car was here, blah, blah, blah. And then you call your insurance, blah, blah, blah. You know how to then respond. And then you have to what? Hopefully the police will recover it, right? Or if it's so damaged, you have to go and you have to recover it, go take it to some kind of, call your insurance and take it somewhere to repair. Or you may just have to get a new car, right? They never found it, or it was totaled or whatever. You know those steps. So it's the same thing with the framework. You know that for the university, it's the same thing, but just think about their data. They have to know how to protect their data. So in that way, when we think about frameworks, if I go and share, because everybody kind of gets bogged down with this, if I'm going to share, they say cybersecurity frameworks provides the foundation for building consistent security programs. They offer for organizing defenses, tracking, communicating. Somebody has to communicate. Jonas is communicating to the police or communicating to insurance, right? We got the leadership here. We got regulators. We have partners. We have to do it. So they're different frameworks. One framework is by the National Institute of Standards. This is by the US government. And what they do is they have guidelines for cybersecurity strategy. And look at this, Jonas. What are the 5 things they need to do? They need to identify, right? That I know what do I need to do as I got, what's important to me is your GPA or your financial data or your credit card. Then I have to protect it. And then I have to detect whether they've broken in. And then I need to have, how are we going to respond? And then I have to recover from that breach. And they have a number of different standards. One is the ISO. It's the same thing. What do they emphasize? They basically emphasize what? What do we talk about all the time? Governance. What does it mean, governance? Governance, Max, means that what? That you're going to have rules and regulations. Somebody's going to be responsible to see what's happening with the data. Then we always know that what? In this case, Kiko, that I can never be 100% sure that my data will be preserved. Just like in life, there's no 100% of anything, right? There's no 100%. You go outside, right? You get hit by, somebody runs somebody over, right? There's no insurance that somebody won't try to mug you. There's no insurance, whatever. But you want to do what? You want to try to do risk management, right? You don't want to walk in areas that look creepy at night. You want to not show off, right? And show, show cash around, right? You want to do normal kind of things. You want to reduce the risk. And then what do you want to do for this is you want to see continuous improvement. When we have problems, we want to continually improve. And there's another one called FERPA. And you say, what the heck is a FERPA? It sounds like something, but it's another, in the United States, it's another act or law that was created for what? Family educational rights and privacy. So they say in the United States, universities have to protect the privacy of student educational records. Kiko, they can't be publishing in the school hurricane paper, right? What you got, right? Your grades and everybody else's. So they have to protect it, and they have to guide how the data can be accessed, who can access it. Because guess what? When I put in grades, I have to be accessing your record, right? So I have to get access to insert my A+++ grade that you would get. These are only just simulations, I'm saying, right? The grade that you would get in my class, right, Kiko? And then in this case, who can share it, right? Maybe your advisor has to see it, but only certain people. And where's this goes? Another one is Graham Leach. Everybody in this case is called GLBA. That's just abbreviation. Who cares? But it's the idea. There's another act that says financial institutions have to safeguard our personal and financial data. You go to a bank, you put money in the bank, you best believe that they have to safeguard my money. They can't just let it loose that every hacker can just take my money. And the compliance helps universities maintain the trust, because guess what? Universities hold money too of yours. When people pay tuition, they don't pay it to, they pay it to the university. The university has to show we're safeguarding it. It has a lot of your banking information, other things like that. So these are examples of other frameworks. Like this one is just for vendors. I'm telling you, the people that have our data is just not the university. But what do? They basically use cloud services like Microsoft that holds our data. We do Blackboard. Does Blackboard have your grades, Kiko? Yeah, they have some of your grades. Should that be advertised to everybody? So basically, Blackboard or Canvas, the university has here, higher education should know their third-party vendors. What's a third-party vendor? Like Blackboard, like Canvas. Canelink. Have you ever used Canelink? Canelink is basically Salesforce. Is another company that holds the data. So all of this, and the other one is GDPR, is basically for my European students. It has been developed from the European Union that has stricter guidelines than we do in the United States. So anytime institutions interact with students, faculty, or researchers, they have to have higher standards to keep the data. So if we're doing a research project with a European university and we share the data and it's personal data, we have to have higher standards. So that's the idea when we talk about frameworks. Does that help, Frankie? Did you understand that the frameworks are basically the guidelines to help, in this case, universities, to help them? How are they going to basically safeguard their data? And they give them step by step what they need to do. Because guess what? That's not their business. They have no idea. So basically, standardization institutions set that up, and they work with vendors. They work with a number of experts to help them set up best practices, and they follow those. And if they follow those, then we could hope that our data will be more protected. But if they are breached, Frankie, what? They'll know what to do. Right? And let me tell you, it's just like in your house, if somebody broke in, sometimes, it may be somebody that you gave your keys to somebody and they invited somebody else. And you may not even know that you were breached because it was in a drawer. You had, your watch, Frankie, in some drawer, and you never looked at that drawer to see in a way. It may take you a while to know even if you were breached. And what happens to universities, I guarantee you, a lot of times they don't know if they're breached. And sometimes some other party tells them, oh, guess what? We found your data in some dark web and they're selling it. Because then they have all your, your social, they have your credit card, they even have that 3-digit code that you have in the back. Nothing's secure 100%. So that's all that we're talking about with that software, and all that area of how do you protect it? And with the guidelines, that's why that article is so good, in which they talk about a university. And when you're answering the questions for the open-ended, I'd like you to show examples of things that you understand. Like what type of data breach would they have in student data? What is supposedly, Frankie, supposed to be protected by that? Got it?
Yeah, no,
So
understand.
those are ways in which to do it. Okay. All right, so let's think about, everybody knows we need to come to the exam. We need to come on time. You remember here we start supposed to start at 6:35 and we kind of creep in whenever, but that's okay for us. That's kind of our style. But on the exam, I want to be able at 6:35 hey, we're online, take the test, and then you can leave. And guess what? Some of you can even enjoy your spring break the following week, right? Get that out of the way. Okay? So, what else? How about you starting, Lily?
Start the Kahoot.
So what I want to do is now the multiple choice. We'll do Kahoot. Let's make it fun, right? We'll do the Kahoot here. Everybody, a lot of people used Kahoot before.
Professor, did they share the sound or no?
What?
Like when Anastasia and Issa shared their screen, did they like share the sound as well? Because Kahoot has like a specific like type
They
of
didn't, but
music.
what kind of sound is it? Like
Oh,
fun? Is
no,
it worth it? I'll
no,
get it's up to you.
you're probably gonna get annoyed. I'm not gonna do it.
You know me a little bit. I probably will.
You're gonna get annoyed.
It's not good music that I can dance to. Let me tell. Is it? If it has a good beat, I can dance to it. I love dancing, but
I mean, to
if
each
it's
their own.
annoying. Okay, so let everybody know. They have to. Everybody do this.
Yeah, so you can either like take your phone and scan the QR code and it'll direct you right to the Kahoot link. Oh, and please can you put your first and last name when you
Yeah.
go into the Kahoot, please?
Yeah, everybody. We're gonna use this for
Our attendance.
engagement. We're gonna do instead of attendance, Frankie. We're gonna do this. This is going to be our engagement exercise. So everybody put first name, last name, and Athena, if you can go back in and put in first name, last.
Unfortunately, if you don't go in, like you can't edit your nickname.
Yeah.
You just have to get out and
Okay. This is an old program, isn't it? Have they updated
yeah,
it yet?
well, I mean, I've played this since I was in elementary school, so it's
Right, so,
old.
right. Yeah, right. But I'm just saying it even looks, the look of it.
But I think it's fun.
Yeah, no, it's great. Everybody's in, you know what I mean? How many do we have? We have
We
24.
have 24 and
We
we
got
have 30
30
students, so
students.
5
So,
more.
yeah, so we'll wait on it. You know what I mean?
And Professor, you want me to read each question, right?
Yeah, reading each question, read the answers. You don't read the A, B, and C,
Okay.
the entire multiple choice. And then it'll start, and then it'll take it. Yeah. And then when we get the answers, those that we have questions on, I'll be happy to elaborate on what are the differences. We'll just wait. I don't want to wait, other people decide. How many
There's
people
3
do we
more
have?
people left. I can just start it if you want.
Yeah, let's give it another 10, 15 seconds and then we'll start.
Okay.
Sometimes people come in, come out. Everything is up to you guys, right? Everything is, so it doesn't look like any more people are coming in, right? From the 26th.
Yeah, I
Am I
think we're
correct?
good to start.
Okay, so let's start and let's see where we go. And you'll read it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait.
Blank is an unintentional threat.
Okay.
Espionage, social engineering, identity theft, and software attacks.
Okay. And here I'm gonna, while they're taking it, the key is unintentional. So you need to know the difference between unintentional versus intentional. Okay.
Not
So
bad.
it's not bad. Social engineering. So the whole idea is unintentional, and the unintentional is when you're the receiver of social engineering, right? Because somebody that actually is going to be the schmoozer is going to be intentional. Okay.
Hackers would use a bonnet to perform a blank. DDS, a Trojan horse, a logic bomb, or a virus.
Okay, so what I call it, Lily, is I call it a botnet. Basically, when you think about it as like a robot, but a network.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more than one bot. That's the key here. So if you wanted to underline it, it's more than one bot. Okay, so the DDoS stands for denial, basically is distributed denial of service. So there's a DOS, which is denial of service, that basically you could have one bot then just attack one server, and you do it so often, millions of times, that it can't hold it anymore and the server goes down. So in a distributed, what you're doing is basically you have a number of them, almost like a squad that goes out and distributes those so it can do it in a more basic immersive fashion. Okay, next.
The most current form of ransomware demands payment in the form of blank. Cash, PayPal transactions, credit cards, and Bitcoins.
Okay, so the case here is you need to know what ransomware is. Ransom, and the reason is basically on cybersecurity, so they call it ware, like software, but it's ransomware. And how do you, they're going to ask for some type of remuneration. So everybody basically got that.
That was the best one so far.
They're not going to do a credit card, right, where it can be traced, for sure. Okay.
Blank is a communications control. A company gate, encryption, a firewall, RFID.
Okay. So here is, remember we were talking about controls. I have to set up some controls. I can set up physical controls, like lock the door, right, that we're talking about with Frankie, but I can do communication. So firewall then is there, what did people think? Encryption. And here's the idea of communication. So underline the word communication control, that a firewall then prevents people into getting into the communication network. That's the area. Versus encryption, I'm just taking that data and I can encrypt it. But here it's, how do I block them from getting into the network?
Oh.
Okay, next.
Databases blank redundancy. This means blank. Oh,
Okay,
that's a lot of words.
okay, this is confused. Go ahead.
Maximize. Databases maximize redundancy. This means the same data is stored in multiple. I'm not gonna be able to get it in time.
No. But one is maximize and one is minimize.
Minimize.
Okay.
It was a long
the
one,
This is a long one, and this
but
is the
it's
one
a
that most
question
people
that
got
people have
wrong.
trouble with.
What?
It's a question that people have trouble with, so I think
Yeah, okay. This is written not well. This
It's
question.
formulated in a weird way because it
Yes.
doesn't explain what minimize redundancy means, but it explains what redundancy is.
Yeah, but basically what they're trying to say is databases minimize redundancy. Everybody understand that? It's compared to a file system. When I take anybody's demographic data, when I take Lily's demographic data in a regular file system, her data is spread around the university and it's redundant. So when I put all the data together in one file, then it will be minimizing redundancy. So I know that databases minimize redundancy is correct, that part. Now I have to think about what this means. And this is what I can see is 7 and 5 being confusing. This means what they're saying is the same data are stored in multiple locations. And here they say minimize various copies of the data do not agree. Well, that's not correct. Yeah, because what I want to do is I put what happens in a regular file system, various copies of data do not agree. But here, the same data are stored in multiple locations. That's what this means, is a little bit, that's the best answer, but this part is a little bit confusing. I would have written it differently. But you just have to know that databases, the whole idea, it reduces redundancy. The problem turns out, the flip side of it is, then if I only have one copy of my data, then it may be wrong, that data. Also, my security suffers, right? Because now it's like, now I know where to rate it. I'll rate it in that database. Now I get all the joules. Versus if I spread it out, it's not as lethal. Let's go to the next one.
And blank is an individual who provides capital for a startup, usually in exchange for convertible debt or ownership equity. An angel investor, a banker, venture capitalist, or a peer-to-peer lender.
Okay. The key here is individual. So when you're reading these questions, it's easy to just miss it. So what I suggest you do is read the questions well. Okay. So the second one was venture, and venture capital is more than just one
More than
individual.
just one person.
Right. That's the difference why we got it. Okay, next.
Blank is developed through learning and is the experience and expertise that managers can apply to business problems. Data, knowledge, information, or all the above.
Okay. So the key here is learning, developed through learning, experience, and expertise. That's the key to get me the right answer. Learning, experience, and expertise. Knowledge, okay. And all of the above doesn't make any sense. But, you know, they always tell you, let's do all of the above, and usually maybe my chances are higher. Okay, next. And in that case, it was not.
IT changes manager's job by blank. Improving an employee's sense of connectedness, decreasing the volume of information they have to process, providing a near real-time information so that managers can make quicker decisions, or making it easier to get all employees to work at one location.
Okay. The whole idea is better decisions, quicker decisions, real time.
And blank system could help a doctor make decisions about patient diagnosis. Expert system, recommendation system, gaming system, or support system.
So here is, it helps the doctor to make decisions. So what they usually do is they call it expert systems. They take a number of experts, and then they could do, basically set up their knowledge and rules. So basically expert systems, okay.
Which situation is synonymous with the phrase constant call? Being ready and able, being able to use voicemail, being available 24 hours a day, or being knowledgeable about technology.
And the key here is constant. Okay, and it's 24. The key is the number 24 rather than being able. Let's go next.
One question that a company would ask when trying to implement new hardware that has been purchased is, how often should we upgrade? What hardware should we get? When should we get the hardware? And which hardware would fit?
So this has been purchased already. So this is when you've purchased already. Then basically, how often should we upgrade? Because that's going to be in the costs of ownership. We've already decided that. So which hardware would fit? We've already decided, we've purchased it already. Okay.
Blank is an approach to managing information across an entire organization. Big data, data governance, master data management, and master data.
So here is what I'm going to emphasize is the approach to managing information. So it's an approach to managing the information that they're talking about. And notice this is usually what it is. Master data management isn't an approach to manage the information. It's just about my data that defines my data. Data governance, you see the approach to managing information is much broader. It's higher level. Master data management is just talking about Lily called Kiko and Kiko called Frankie and Frankie called Jonas. All I know is that's dealing with my data management and I know who is calling who and what are the fields defined. Data governance is the whole area of managing my information across all of my data, all my organization, my enterprise. Let's go next.
Blank r/ is available at no cost to developers or users.
Okay.
Open source software, open systems, hardware, and proprietary software.
So it's no cost is the key. And it's for developers or users. Okay, most people got it right.
Big data helps companies treat customers as individuals. This is called blank. Business model creation, micro-segmentation, data analyzation, and experimentation.
Okay, and the key here is individuals. So dealing with big data, how can I look at basically customers as individuals rather than a whole group? Okay, perfect.
Blank is used to plan and control business intelligence activities. Data dictionary, metadata, governance, and ETL.
So when you're looking at it, what's the idea? Plan and control. Overview. That gives you a hint right there. Plan and control overview. See governance?
Next.
Yep.
Software is a set of blank that enable the hardware to process data.
Okay.
Documents, input devices, computer programs, and information schemes.
Okay, it's software
So,
that basically enables then the hardware to process the data. Okay, perfect. And it's not an input device, right? Because we're talking about software. Input devices are hardware, they're not software.
blank manipulates data and controls the tasks performed by the other components. AI, the CPU, EDI, or ERP.
Okay. The key here is manipulates the data and controls the task. Remember we talked about controlling performing the other components. Okay. CPU.
Which of the following is primary storage? RAM, magnetic disk, SSDs, or magnetic tape.
Okay. You remember we talked about primary being volatile. in the present. Okay. SSDs then would be secondary, right? You store things on SSDs.
Blank storage stores data and programs for future use. Primary storage, output storage, secondary storage, and input storage.
Okay. And why is not, this is the key. Someone said primary. What's the key here? Future use. Future use means that I need to get it later. Once I won't get it later in primary, right? Primary is just for present use. Next.
Inform users understand more about IT systems, schools, careers, and events.
Okay, perfect. Next.
A company might choose a data mart over a data warehouse because the data mart supports central control rather than local control, has many BI applications to support, needs to support the company's top decision makers, or supports the local control rather than the central control.
So the key here is a data mart is more specific than a data warehouse. So that's why this support central would be a data warehouse. Support local, it's my local idea of my hypothesis for a campaign. Next.
Blank speech recognition software interprets human speech in one word at a time. Wait, one word at a time. Discrete interpretation, conversational, and continuous.
Okay. And the key is one word at a time. That's the key. Just like math. What's discrete? Conversational is not, basically it takes the entire conversation, like even generative AI, right? It takes the entire conversation. Here, discrete means takes one word at a time. It's like 1, 2, it's not a continuous. Conversation is continuous. Okay, next.
Phishing is an example of blank. Software attack, sabotage, espionage, and copyright infringement.
So you need to know what a phishing is. Fine, next.
Cyber criminals are violent criminals, target known software security weaknesses, can be easily arrested once they're found, and don't make that much money. They'll do it for fun.
Next.
Blank is the possibility that the system will be harmed by a threat. Vulnerability, security, exposure, and threat.
So definitely you'll need to know what do we mean by vulnerability? What do we mean by exposure? What do we mean by threat? Those should be well defined by you. Okay, that's vulnerability. Next.
A blank is a remote attack needing no user action. Denial of service attack, logic bomb, phishing attack, or backdoor.
Okay. Here the key is no user action. I, as a user, don't need to press a link. Okay, that's why that denial of service, I don't need to do anything. I'm not even, that's not up to me.
Next. Why is using an encryption key important? An encryption key sends encrypted data. An encryption key authorizes encrypted data. An encryption key blocks encrypted data. And an encryption key locks and unlocks encrypted data.
Okay, so the one in blue is blocks and the other one is lock. So think about key. What do you do with a key, right? You lock and unlock. Perfect.
The goal of CAPTCHA is to like hack into secure networks, ensure you aren't alien software, protect networks against hackers, and remove alien software from your computer.
So basically, what are they trying to do? Is basically that CAPTCHA is trying to see if you are a human. So that's why it ensures you aren't alien software. Versus 12, it's not a hacker. It's basically looking for are you a human, or are you basically software that's trying to basically register the systems? Okay.
Which of the following represents the major category of unintentional threats? Hardware error, system error, human error, or software error?
And the key here is unintentional, remember? So in your studies, you have to know the difference between unintentional threats and intentional threats for security. That's the key. Okay. And that's why it's a systems error and a software area. Basic unintentional is humans, not on purpose. Next. Oh, last one, huh?
Open SSL is blank software.
Okay.
Banking, free, encryption, and hacking.
Okay. And SSL is that basically when we're talking about a secure layer. So we want to be able to look at it because naturally the internet passes data as plain text. So we don't want plain text. We don't want our credit card information going as plain text. We want it to be encrypted. Okay. So Christina, number 3. Kai is number 2. And number 1, coming with the star, Brooke is our star. And now this has music to it, or what?
And now I'm getting the data.
Okay.
I'll do later.
Okay. So we have that, and then there were like who's on the podium and who's like beyond, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we can kind of see 16%. Yeah. So the problem ones, the difficult, it's good to see the difficult where the databases, the communications control, remote attack, hack, no user action. What is this? Help the doctor. Yeah. The expert systems. Yeah. I could see that. Right. That's nice that you see the difficult. What else is difficult here? Speech recognition. One time that once you know it, you can see it, right? Is discrete. One word at a time. You don't want it to stop every time. Conversation is going to be fluid. Okay, that's it. Okay. Yeah, and I think that database and the redundancy, it's confusing to see what they have, even when people knew it. Okay. So Sophia, what did you think? Worthwhile to do the Kahoot?
Yeah, it was great to study.
Okay, good. So thank Lily for putting that through. Anything else we need, Lily? Last words of wisdom for you before they go. One is to go find the lab, I think.
Oh, yes, someone asked earlier, like on directions to the
Mhm.
lab.
When to
So
give it.
if, all right, let's pretend that I'm walking through the business school and there are like two different areas of elevators in the business school, at least to my understanding. There's the arrestee elevators, which are like inside like a glass like area. And then there's like this double field elevators, which is like they're outside and it's like two, like it's like four elevators like in a corner. And so you're gonna take like one of those four double field elevators, which
It
is
looks
like
older, the older
yeah, it
part.
looks older and it's like right when you like walk into the business school too. Kind of like it's off, those elevators are to the left of the half moon stand that's in the
Mhm.
business
Yeah,
school.
that's a good one. It's like if you looked at my picture here, it's like all the way in the back of me.
Yeah, like if you were to look at like the background of Dr. Rush, you would take a right to go up to half moon and then you'd like see those elevators.
Yeah, the half moon, it's right next to half moon. That's a good idea. If you don't see that half moon, the elevator's right next to half moon. I like that one.
And then you go into the elevator, hit the second floor, and then once you get to the second floor, there's like these like glass doors that open. You have to use your cane card to tap into the door. And then it's the next door off to your left.
Yeah, that's a great.
And it also it says computer lab like right on it. And it should honestly say like Dr. Rush, like exam session too, because we booked the lab for that for your exam.
But I think that's good, right? It basically half moon elevators, go up, look for glass doors, put on your cane card and the first door to your left.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Great idea. Okay, anything else, Lily?
Just review the guide again, review the open note questions, and I'm sure you'll do fine.
Well,
If you have any questions on how to get there before, please email me and I'll help you out. Or I'll show you exactly where to go too, because I'll
Okay.
be on campus tomorrow. So,
Okay. And then you didn't talk about the top 3 students.
well, I got their screenshots, Dr. Rush.
Good, good. There may
So
be
they're
prizes.
recorded. Yeah.
Right, there may be prizes, right. There may be prizes for the top. Okay. So thank you very much, everybody, for participating. And we'll see each other soon in person. Okay, stay with me if you have questions. Otherwise, I'll stop the recordings. And thank you, Lily, for coming up with this idea. I think it worked well. People got away because it's hard when you say, oh, what questions you have? I don't even